how good does that feel to get here Monday and have a big blowout win to talk about?
It feels a lot better than the last few weeks. Really proud of our guys' effort. It's been a tough season. A lot of times guys can check out. We've got a bunch of guys on our team that have a tremendous amount of pride. And to see them go out and compete the way we did, there was a lot of adversity, particularly early in that game. I think just the physical nature of that game, I think they were trying to, do some things to get into Zach's head, and our guys responded well, I thought. They were playing a little bit over the edge, and a lot of times that can get ugly, and guys try to respond, and our guys kept our composure. I was proud of them for that. I thought, particularly early on, defensively, we did a good job limiting what they wanted to do, and then offensively, move the ball as well as we have all year. And I thought Zach had a really terrific game, being able to stand there, take the pressure, and still be able to make throws.
There was a stretch there early where your best offense was their defensive line getting penalties, but that brought out the best in Zach. Was that the best thing that could have happened to him, to have guys taking cheap shots and put him at a point where he had to step up?
In hindsight, maybe so. I wouldn't have predicted that. I think part of their strategy was to get in his head by roughing him up. And, he's, shown earlier this year that he has a tendency to, succumb to pressure. I thought that he did a terrific job on Saturday, bowing up to the pressure, not worrying about it and still making throws and leading our team. And I was really proud of the way he played.
And you have an example in your own conference with New Mexico of a team that squeaks by with a win against Utah State with a little good fortune, then carries that confidence and momentum to Boise and does something nobody in the country does. Is that a lesson for you guys, that now that you've got this win in your pocket, that momentum can continue to build?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of college football, that on any given, Saturday, if your guys are ready to play and, the way our football is shaped, you never know which way it's going to bounce. I think I heard New Mexico created 7 takeaways. It's hard to win a football game when you turn it over 7 times, and Boise found that out. A year ago, Air Force, same thing. They turned the ball over that many times. Not to take anything away from New Mexico, they did a terrific job creating those plays. And our guys on Saturday, we created 4 takeaways, and a couple of them were crucial. All of them are important, but to get red zone takeaways where you're really taking points off the board, for your opponent, it can be mentally demoralizing. But more importantly, they're in a scoring position in the red zone. They don't get points. It's a huge turnaround.
With that momentum in mind, how much different of a challenge is it this week going into Provo against a BYU team that's 7-3 against one of the nation's toughest schedules?
Yeah, certainly we need this momentum because we've got a tall task ahead of us. That's probably as big and as veteran of a unit that we're going to play, all year. Defensively, they're huge up front. You look at Kafusi, a 6'8", 285-pound freak. They've always been physical up front, against the run. They're doing a terrific job again this year. Bronco Mendenhall does a terrific job with their 3-4 and getting guys to play extremely hard and physically. Offensively, Tanner Mangum's come in and done a terrific job, in relief. I mean, you can't tell that the guy was a backup before. Now he's an older guy. He's not just a right out of high school freshman, but still, to give him credit, he went into the season thinking he was going to be a backup, got forced into action early, and has done a terrific job. Their receivers are all huge. They'll throw into coverage a lot of times, on a 50-50 ball, and they come up with more than 50% of them. And it presents a big-time challenge because if you single guys up, they're going to just throw it up.
Questions from Coach? Microphone.
Coach, what was the determining factor in deciding to go with Zach over Kilton at quarterback?
Well, we opened up the competition last week. Both Kilton and Zach have strengths to their games and weaknesses to their games. And we thought with our game plan going into what we anticipated we would see from Hawaii, and it bore itself out, that we were going to have to throw the ball in order to effectively move the ball. And during the week of practice, we thought that Zach got us in the right protections, threw the ball the best. So we felt that he was the guy going forward. And, Kilton brings, a little bit different dimension to his game, and we wanted him ready. We played him, a little bit in the game. It'll be a similar situation this week. Zach will be our starter. But we'll have a package for Kilton, and we'll go from there.
Do you plan on maybe getting Hilton a little, maybe some more reps in this game? Because it seemed like you wanted Zach to get his rhythm, which he did, but this game was 35-7 early in the second half. In a similar situation, would you maybe split the reps closer to 50-50, or is it just going to be a game dictating situation?
I know people have short memories, but 2 years ago, it was about a 35 or 42-7 out in the island, and we're defending a Hail Mary. So we weren't really thinking about, at that point, since it was early in the third quarter, we're just trying to win a football game. We still thought that, well, Kilton, did some things in the run game, and we want to continue to develop him, that Zach gave us the best opportunity to win that football game. And, I think the way he played, he earned the right to keep playing and finish that game. And I liked how, he really stood up to the pressure, and I think it was a growing moment for him.
More on that, do you think that he gained confidence from the fact that he stood in there and took Hawaii's best shots and was still standing, especially on that one, aided drive? Because he made two really good throws after the third roughing the.
Yeah, I think so. And somebody asked me about that earlier, and I would not have predicted that. But it's interesting when you put somebody in a very difficult situation. Sometimes that forces them to grow, and I think that was the case with Zach. I remember the one time where he got poked in the eye, and he looked like a fighter, where his eye was starting to swell. And I talked to him on the sideline. Are you okay? We got Kilton here, and he bowed up and said, "No, Coach, I want to go." And I think that grit and determination was inspired by the fact that they were taking some shots at him.
On your first drive, when you had great field position, you didn't score. There was a read option on that play where it looked like if he would have kept the ball, you would have had a pretty easy touchdown. Did you talk to him about that? And
Obviously, yeah.
and in the third quarter, there was a similar situation where he kept the ball. Was that the first time he had done that this year?
I don't know that that's the first time he's kept it, but again, he hasn't started every single game. You'd like to have one guy established that you learn from it and you can go week to week to week. When you don't have success, you got to look at other places. But when you can establish a quarterback, they learn. Zach learned during the game. I think he got some confidence. He knew, because we talked to him about, hey, you should have pulled it. You ask him, what did you see? And, okay, so the next time you get in that situation, you see the same thing, let's go ahead and pull it and get what you can. And I think as he goes and gets more confidence, starts feeling like he can make plays, because he's definitely got the athletic ability to do it. It's just making that decision and making it quickly and attacking the defense, still being able to protect yourself, because we don't want him taking undue shots. But I think he can do those things, and hopefully, like I said, I think he grew from that game. He was put under a tough test, faced it eye to eye, and I think he can't help but get confidence from that.
Just on all those roughing the passers, there was at least 6 or 7 and maybe one on Kilton that should have been called but wasn't. Do you think that was a frustrated team you were playing, an undisciplined team, an aggressive team, a dirty team? How do you?
I think there are, it's always an aggressive team when you play University of Hawaii. I think part of their strategy was probably to hit our quarterbacks because they're young, and you can rattle quarterbacks when that happens. But you got to do it, before the, balls get thrown. And, you have to ask them as far as the other stuff. But, it's football. I thought the officials did a good job of trying to, rein them in. And, sometimes some guys don't listen.
More questions for Coach?
A 42-14 win, 6 touchdowns for Zach. Obviously, the team came back feeling good. You talked about the momentum. How much stock do you put in this one win in the grand scheme of the season and with the 2 remaining games?
I don't know that you put stock into it in the big picture. What I do put into it is that we need momentum going into Provo, because we know we're playing a terrific BYU team that's very well coached, that has gone through a gauntlet of a schedule and is still 7-3. And really, up until their game over the weekend, I think had a legitimate shot to possibly sneak into that college football playoff. When you're looking at the schedule that they played, if they would have only had 2 losses to a Michigan and UCLA, I think that they had a pretty compelling, schedule had they finished out. But Having said that, the fact that we won yesterday or Saturday night, I think can't help but give our guys confidence, and we need that. That's the big thing that you lack when you have a young team and you don't have success. They begin to doubt. I think that, the fact that Zach went out, got tested, got hit in the chin, stood up. It's like the bully on the block that beats you up all the time. You finally stand up and punch him back in the nose, and he turns down. You feel better about yourself, and I think that's what happened with Zach.
How satisfying was it in those final minutes of the game to get playing time for a lot of guys that you hadn't been able to get in there, basically because you hadn't been in a game like this all year, except maybe the opener?
It was really satisfying. You get guys like DeJounte O'Neal who practices extremely hard every single week. He gets that final series where I was hoping to get him a score, but had some terrific runs. David Tongapa, gets in. He's got family in Hawaii. He does a terrific job on our scout team each and every week. He doesn't practice very much with our varsity team that's getting ready to go because he's working with our look team, and yet he's out there battling his tail off. Those things are I think, motivationally great for morale for your team because everybody gets to pitch in on the victory. And you're right, we haven't had enough of that. Hopefully that good feeling will help us to have a great week this week in practice and see what we can do when we go on the road to Provo.
Maybe you need David a little more this week if Chad Olson can't go. What's the latest on Chad?
He should be able to go, and Kyle both. Our trainers tested him yesterday. They'll be limited this week, but they both should be able to go.
I asked him after the game if he'd been practicing that somersault. He said, yeah, probably a little too much. I've been dreaming about that forever. Did you get a kick out of the way he finished that one off?
Yeah, that probably wasn't the most athletic somersault I've ever seen, but no, I was just happy to see him get in. Again, I thought Zach did a terrific job of finding different players and spreading the ball around. And Chad's been a great weapon for us, and I think with him being a big target and be able to run after the catch the way he does, hopefully we'll have him healthy this week because he can be a factor in a game like this where you got to match up, with him as a blocker and also be able to match up with him as a pass receiver.
You mentioned trying to get DeJounte a touchdown at the end. Zach was one touchdown pass away from Derek Carr's record of 7 in the game. I know Utah threw that last second one against you here at the stadium. Maybe it's bad form, but were you guys aware that he was that close to Derek's record from 2 years ago?
No, I wasn't aware of that at all. But even if somebody had made me aware, that's not what we're going to do. I think it's right to get guys that don't normally get a chance to play an opportunity to go play. And at the end of that game, we're really trying to run it to win it and get out of there and keep the clock running. We're not going to try to get guys just get records.
But Adro managed to talk his way into the game for that last play.
Well, our guys were getting tired. And yeah, he wanted to go back in there, and we're down some guys because of injury. So, he's like, come on, coach, put me in. They're throwing, I'll get a sack. And so we were like, all right, because our guys were pretty gassed. And
that's kind of refreshing, isn't it, that a guy wants to be out there that bad?
he does, but I also think, I may not have known at the time. He'll definitely know what his record is or whatever that record is for tackles for loss. So I'm sure that had probably something to do with it.
More questions for Coach?
Is this the first game that you've finished the game with a better feeling about Zach than you started the game with?
Probably. I think the first game of the year felt decent about him. Coming off of the Utah game where he came in relief, I thought, hey, he's starting to show some signs. But probably since then, where we knew it was going to be a growing process. I mean, you look around our conference. There's so much parity in our conference because there's very few established quarterbacks, and so you don't get consistent play. You'd love to have had that, so that by November you're playing well. To see him step up, though, I was like I mentioned before, really, really pleased because we're starting to see the potential that we see in him. Sometimes players, if they don't have success, they start to doubt. They don't see it in themselves until they get tested and have to, find a way to make a play, and he did.
And it seems like with him, I mean, the knock on him has been what we were saying before. The pressure seems to be something we can get to him, which probably didn't surprise me too much to see how Hawaii was playing. Considering that seems to have been a piece that he might be figuring out, I would imagine confidence in him has got to be pretty high.
I would like to think so. I thought he felt pretty good about himself after the game. He looked like a fighter that'd been through a fight. His eye was kind of swollen shut and limping a little bit, but he had a big smile on his face. His dad made it out for the game, so he flew out Saturday morning, I guess. As we were leaving the stadium, I saw him talking with his dad, and both of them. It was a real proud moment, and you'd like to think that when, again, you step up and have to fight through some adversity like he did and then have success, can't help but help your confidence.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Taekwondo Glass? As of late, he's emerged significantly, you can say. What has been the reason for his growth?
Well, we saw the potential, which is why we signed him. But he got here in the summer, didn't go through spring ball. It takes a while for guys to understand how fast the game is at this level, our multiple defensive packages that we've got to do for him to be consistent. He's gotten better every week and has really been impressed. He still has some things he's got to do better, but he's competing as well as anybody on our defense right now. And we've thought all along that he's a guy that has the potential to be an all-conference type of corner. And if he'll continue and have a great offseason, I think, he'll be poised for that.
How pleased are you with the defense? Obviously, this year you've had some giving up the big plays and kind of turned in this game.
Well, the yards at the end, when you look at the stats, I didn't think it was very indicative of the game, but and a lot of those were on that last drive where they came off the one. Our defense did what we had to do. We busted a couple things early on their first touchdown, but then we settled in, and I thought really limited the run, didn't get the ball thrown over the top of us, and when they did move the ball, we found ways to get takeaways. And in college football, people are going to move the football. Unless you're just physically dominant, better than them, people are going to move the football. But what you've got to do is create takeaways. And when we have 4 takeaways, you're going to give yourself a chance, especially when you get red zone takeaways.
Coach, you shared your esteem for Bronco Mendenhall and BYU this season. They've had the schedule they've played, the quality of their team, the scary parts about the giant receivers they have, the monster D-line, and a 22-year-old freshman who plays like a veteran at quarterback. Does that make this your bowl game? I mean, you guys don't go to a bowl game this year, but for your players, especially those seniors, is this every bit as big as a bowl game?
I think this game and the last game, they're both bowl games to our guys. You got to relish every opportunity you have. We're playing a marquee team, a team that I think has got a great chance to end the year in the top 25. You don't have those opportunities all the time. And so, when you get down to those, for our seniors, those last couple of games, throw it on the line. Why hold back? To me, it's encouraging as a coach to see our guys getting better when, if you listen to all the outside voices, which we try to get our guys not to do, why you got nothing to play for, just mail it in. Well, our guys aren't doing that. And, we knew during the week of practice that our guys are focused, and we expect the same thing this week.
Did you see a different level from your seniors? I mean, I'm looking at Charles Washington gunning on a punt and taking a guy out. I mean, did you see that urgency that you were looking for?
Well, I don't know if it's a different level because I think Charles has been pretty consistent all year. But it's good to see when, like I said, the outside voices say, hey, you got nothing to play for. They don't listen to that. Edgero's having fun making plays. You see Alex Fafita competing his tail off. Bo Bonheim competing his tail off. Todd Hunt, I thought, you don't see it in the stats, but you watch that tape. He physically got after it. I think part of it was because his half-brother was on the other side and he wanted to, play well. But, Kyrie Wilson, he's out there banged up, wanting to make plays. I mean, to see those seniors step up the way they did is encouraging. I think it sends a great message to our team about how important each and every game is. And, again, I was happy for our seniors in particular by how well we played.
And, Fresno State hasn't played BYU since '98, but I know you did your homework when you took this job and you went and met Coach Sweeney and talked to Coach Bill. And, this used to be a team that Fresno State loved to beat as much as anybody in the country. Have you gotten a taste for that animus or that rivalry that's there?
Well, it's been so removed. It's hard to, recreate that right away. It's not like, Boise or Nevada over the last few years where you're playing them, just about every year. But this is a program I think that, you want to strive to be measured by. They've certainly had a terrific, run. Broncos done a great job with them. They're a perennial top 25 team. That's what you want to be. And so to get an opportunity against them, hopefully knock them off in their own backyard. Those are the challenges you relish as a coach and as a player.
And it's senior day for them. You've been in that stadium before. You know what LaBelle Edwards did.
I was there when they opened that stadium.
So how can you help your team be prepared for what that environment's going to be?
Well, it's going to be loud. I think they do a terrific job of supporting their team. I mean, it seems like every game's a sellout out there. They have about 65,000 just about every game. It's a great, I think, college football environment. Our guys are going to have to be ready to, stand up to one of the great environments in college football. And to me, that's just part of it. It gives you that juice to prepare, that extra energy that, hey, we got to stand up to something that's going to be a little bit tough. And if you're a competitor, that's what you want.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Did you want to share a memory of opening LaBelle Edwards Stadium?
No, I was there the first day, and so it was overflowing. I was a sophomore at the Air Force Academy. Steve Young was starting for BYU, and they scored with about a minute and a half left to go up 38-31, and they punted down to our 1 yard line or 2 yard line, and we were in the triple, with Wishbone, and we went 99 yards and scored and hit a 2-point to beat them. And I saw an extreme, as loud of a stadium as I've been a part of, go silent, and about 105 guys on the side screaming as hard as they can. So it was a neat memory.
Yeah, it sounds mildly exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your team could do something like that. I mean, wouldn't it be that exciting if you
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you saw last week, it doesn't matter who you play. You get an opportunity to play a college football game, especially on the road, and go beat somebody. That's why you practice all year. That's why you put everything you do into it to have that opportunity to win a football game, because that energy, that excitement, you can't go buy at the store. You got to create it yourself.